Welcome back. The National Union of Mineworkers General Secretary is accusing the ANC of misleading the public. He says the planned unbundling of Eskom will result in job losses. David Sipunzi says the union's members are angry with the ANC and their vote for the party cannot be guaranteed. Let's get reaction now from the governing party. ANC acting spokesperson Dakota Legoete joins me in studio. I'd say to you, you should be worried. The last time a trade union threatened you in this way, it was NUMSA 2013-2014, saying that we can't guarantee that our members will vote ANC. That ended up with NUMSA exiting altogether your alliance partner, COSATU. You should be worried this time.
Yes, indeed, we are concerned by issues that have been raised by the National Union of Mineworkers. I think the mistake is not with the National Union of Mineworkers. The mistake is with us as the African National Congress. Because from the Legoete and the last NEC, we agreed that our comrades deployed in government, ministers relevant of public enterprise, including the presidency and the Secretary General, will have to get time to explain to our alliance partners, including COSATU affiliates, on what course of actions is going to be taken, what do we mean by unbundling of Eskom, including that we are bringing 3 entities which are going to be 100% owned by the state. There were principles that we have set as the African National Congress from that engagement, that this whole process must not lead to privatization of Eskom. It must not be lead to an end user, which is a consumer, remaining with high prices. It must not lead to retrenchment of workers. So those are the principles that we have set up. We have even made it very clear that on the transmission point, we would not want to engage on any other processes, but on distribution and generation, we can consider players, but those players must be a South African taxpayer. For instance,
what do you mean you can consider players?
Yeah, players, for instance, like Public Investment Corporation, the Development Bank of South Africa, the Industrial Development Corporation, the Compensation Commissioners Fund, the Unemployment Insurance Fund. Whoever that becomes a player must be
owning a stake.
Yeah,
in those resultant state-owned enterprises.
If there was to be an intervention, for instance, if today Eskom was to be assisted through, for an example, PIC buying their debt book, it will be something, because whatever that would be returned in investment, it will be returned in investment that will go back to ordinary workers' pensions, and those workers are South Africans. That would mean primarily, what we would not want is somebody who's private, who comes even from abroad, or either somebody private who comes from South Africa. So that's why we would not agree to anybody bringing their funds in this regard. So that's a process that our deployees will have to explain to our alliance partners, including National Union of Mineworkers.
But are you going to hold President Ramaphosa accountable for not going through that process of, making sure that your alliance partners are on board? I mean, we've just come from a recent history where the relations between the alliance partners were fraught, and the promise was that it would improve. And on such a major issues to do with economic policy and direction of one of the SOEs, he has acknowledged today that he could have brought them on board, and he failed to do so. I would say you as the NEC would need to hold him accountable.
Yes, indeed, we are meeting over the weekend as the National Executive Committee. Eskom will be one of the topics in our agenda, but we have also agreed and instructed the President as well as the ministers responsible to ensure that at least not later than this Monday, they must meet with our alliance partners to explain the process and how it's going to unfold, including the business model of how we are proposing as the African National Congress to the nation and to everybody in terms of how we are going to run Eskom going forward. It must be known that in terms of the current liabilities that Eskom has, it's very difficult for them to run their race and and would not want to wait until there's a blackout in the country.
Finally, then, Dakota Legoete, let's talk about the Northwest ANC. That province, the events of the last week and a half or so, leave you in a bit of a pickle, don't they? I mean, the whole decision to disband the Provincial Executive Committee, nullified by the court, and now, yesterday, the instruction that Supra Mahumapelo should actually resume his position as provincial chairperson. What efforts are underway? I understand there's a meeting that's taking place. How will you reconcile and sort of get the provincial task team that you had set up to talk to the Provincial Executive Committee, which, as we now know, is in good standing?
Yes, as part of the resolution to the Northwest issue, is that we have taken twofold processes. The one which is going to be legal and the one which will be part of the political solution. On the legal one, so far, we have appealed both court orders. The one that was undertaken last week as well as the one of the enforcement of yesterday. We have appealed them, and in terms of Section 18 of the court rules, it means that particular execution is set aside. So that is basically the point. On the political solution, we have met now from today at 10 o'clock with the PTT as well as the PEC to try to find a political solution which will be a win-win for all of us in the Northwest, and to ensure that we get back to the campaign of the ANC and prepare immediately after elections to relaunch our provincial structure in the Northwest. So that is the process that is undertaking now. At Luthuli House, we hope by 7 or 8 this evening, we will have a breakthrough. If it's not there, then the NEC will have to decide over the weekend.
So just on the legal one, in a very quick clarification, you are appealing that particular process. Have you been granted leave to appeal? And what is your understanding? Is it that this means that the status quo remains, that the PTT remains in place and the PEC of Supra Mahumapelo and others remains disbanded?
Look, as it is for now, we have appealed the enforcement of the execution of the order of the court to set aside the PTT, as well as to set aside, to nullify the processes. But what we have submitted as the National Executive Committee is where the court, we think there's an overreach of the court related to the powers of the National Executive Committee to make decisions in between conferences and General Council. But again, is that the PEC that is under contest, its mandate lapsed yesterday. As it is now, they no longer have a mandate. So normally, in terms of our NEC decision, in such instance, we either convert a structure to a PTT, or we to a task team, or we appoint a task team to take over the functions of a provincial executive committee. So those are things that we are negotiating now, also conscious of the fact that the court has made an order to reinstate the PC.
Dakota Legoete, thank you so much for coming through. Dakota Legoete is acting ANC national spokesperson.